Welcome to Costume Commentary. I'm Kate.
And I'm Brit, and today we're talking about Stranger Things. I just finished it yesterday, and I had to go outside and be alone for a little while because it emotionally destroyed me.
There may or may not be spoilers in this episode.
Yeah, probably. As far as the costumes, a freaking plus.
It's set in the 80s. It does not do the modern society trying to do the 80s bright color, huge hair thing that we automatically think 80s, but that's really just our super intense version of the 80s. This is everyday life. Human being 80s.
It's actual real people. And also my favorite thing about it is it's varying groups of people.
Yes.
So often when you do shows that are set in the 80s or, even in the 40s or the 50s, you have the preppy kids and the greasers. Or if it's in the 80s, they all dress exactly the same pretty much no matter what. And this was real life, how it is today and how it always has been and always will be, where you have the popular clothes of the time, but also there's so many subgroups and also people who can't afford to keep up with the fashions of the time, or who are older, or who just don't like it and dress a different way, and so it had everybody instead of just this one weird idealized version where you're going to an I Heart the 80s party. That was not this, and it was awesome.
Depending on the age group you were looking at, it was very different. It was obvious that the parents were still kind of dressing like the 70s because that was where they really had their times.
Yeah.
And the younger kids are actually beginning to dress a little bit more towards the late 80s, early 90s because they're kids and fashion's starting to change.
Jonathan and Joyce. Both of them, their clothes were pretty 80s, but also very much had ties to the 70s, probably because they couldn't afford to buy newer clothes. Even Will's outfit, that vest and the shirt with the stripes, he looks pretty 70s because, yes, he's a kid, but his mom is not going to be able to afford to buy him all these newer clothes just because of their situation.
They were probably hand-me-downs from Jonathan.
And then you do have the preppy kids who are the version of the 80s that we look at now, but realistic. They're not wearing a neon pink shirt and neon green pants and bangles in their hair with scrunchies all they had the big hair.
Yeah.
And they had sort of the style, but they still looked like real humans.
It's a realistic amount of Aquanet in their hair, not an entire freaking can. One character who I really loved her styling throughout the entirety of the show was Nancy. She does not seem like a character you're going to like. What I love about Nancy is that she gets a chance to be strong. A lot of times with female characters, once they become strong, they change their style, they change the way that they act. Nancy stays soft the entire time. And she's wearing a dress and she's girly, and you can be girly and be soft but still be strong. Even in the scenes where she's obviously wearing hunting clothes, she still looks like a girl, and I love that.
Female character that I super loved was Joyce, who wins every Mom of the Year award. My favorite thing about her costuming is actually her son goes missing. This is a spoiler. Towards the end of it, it's been about a week. She's wearing almost the exact same outfit the entire time, and I'm pretty sure for many of those days she has not changed because she's not sleeping, she's not showering, she's trying to find her son and has no thought at all for anything else. I loved that because it's so realistic. And also her hair and makeup, as it goes on longer and longer that she's in this same outfit, she just starts to look so much more haggard. That first episode, she's in her clean outfit. And then as the days go by, it's the same outfit, but they've taken care to make sure that this is the same outfit that hasn't come off of her.
Hopper is one character who I really think that they did a great job with, both in his uniform and out of his uniform. One touch that I really loved about him was his hat. His hat is not exactly what he would be wearing with that uniform, but it's a hat like the one that Eisenhower wore. That hat is supposed to look like something that might have been passed on to him from generation after generation. And I feel like that really worked with a small town cop character.
Also family man type feel. He comes across as brash and sort of vulgar, but he cares so much. He just doesn't want people to know. The boys and 11.
If I have a child, I hope that they're like Dustin. I love his costuming because he's very non-aggressive in his costuming. He looks like the good kid next door who's kind of a dork. His costuming makes you want to talk to him.
I really liked Mike's vaguely Mr. Rogers feel. Everyone else is like, this is weird. And he's like, we should bring her food and make sure she has a place to sleep. These kids are angels. I really liked Lucas also.
One thing that really hit me about his costume was he kind of looks like he dresses a little bit older than all the other boys. And to me, he comes across as like the cynical dad. The way they costumed him that made him look like he was trying to dress a little bit older than them.
He even
The
has his
attitude.
pants higher up on his waistline than the rest of them. And then everyone's favorite part of this show, as she should be, 11. Before we even talk about her costumes, I have to say I have a weird obsession with true crime and conspiracy theories. So the second I saw MK Ultra in one of the news clippings, I was like, oh my gosh! And then when I saw the outfit that she's wearing in the isolation tanks, that was one of my favorites, especially because it looks like those are weights to hold her fully submerged under the water, which is like a really interesting choice as far as the costume.
She seemed like, especially in that she was a little girl in something way over her head. All of her costumes were great. The only problem I have is that lace front wig.
That was silly. When Dustin puts it on jokingly, you can see that it's a cheap wig that has wefts in the front, but when they get it on her, it's obviously like a really expensive, probably human hair lace front wig. Those are not, you did not show me the same wig. Those are totally different wigs. Her iconic outfit with the pink dress and the little jacket that was obviously one of the boys, but the dress that was the sister. The dress looks so innocent, and 90% of the time that she's in it, she's covered in dirt or blood or both.
I cannot applaud the costuming department enough.
Bad news first. Which one is your least favorite?
My least favorite is, I hate to pick on you, babe, but Barb. I get why. Like we've talked before, a lot of teenage girls in the 80s would dress like they were pretending to be secretaries. I just feel like it was a little too much. It felt very pretty in pink, and I get the nod, but I didn't like it personally.
My least favorite is Nancy's pajamas. It was so old-fashioned looking. Those look like you borrowed your mom's pajamas. I just didn't think it was cute. Which one's your favorite?
That would be Dustin. He looks trustworthy. That actor is so good too.
Also, go to his Instagram page because he's adorable. He started taking pictures with fans who came up to him to ask for pictures. So his Instagram is just full of pictures of him with fans, and it's so cute. He's an angel.
I just love his costuming. He just looks
amazing.
Yes, he looks like a very good kid. Who's your favorite?
My favorite, as discussed earlier, is definitely Joyce during the days that her son is missing. It's so well thought out. That is absolutely what happens when you're dealing with stuff and you don't have time. And the subtle ways that they weathered it, obviously meticulously planned. So Winona Ryder's acting in it. Sometimes you can watch a movie and see that the actor doesn't feel comfortable in the costume. She was like doing things with the edges of the shirt, like wiping stuff off, like she was living in that outfit as that character. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you don't have Netflix, get it, watch it, and then cancel it. I don't care, but watch Stranger Things. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like down below and let us know what you'd like to see us review the costumes from next.
Stay tuned this Friday to see our review of Perfume, the Story of a Murderer. Make sure to click subscribe down below so you can be notified as soon as that comes out.
Thanks for watching. They recreated one of the scenes from The Devil's Backbone with all of these special effects and projections on glass. And then they also recreated Guillermo del Toro's Rain Room, which was one of my favorite parts of the whole exhibit.
That and Boris Karloff getting his Frankenstein makeup put on.
Yeah.